So,
Today was my day of athletic shorts and stealing places. Apparently this week I'm stealing all of my family's clothes. Can you not?
so we moved this weekend, last weekend, and yeah, no, I think we're back to normal. I think, but I grabbed some pants just because I haven't figured out my organization method yet, and I went to put them on, and they were like dirty. Like it was just one of those. Like I felt like, thank goodness I figured it out before I left the house. But
I'm going to have a struggle.
okay, so. Let's actually start on the back side. So if you guys can flip to the back side of the notes.
It's just right the circle.
Yeah.
I thought we were still going with our test.
So, again, guys, we are still going to go over our test. I'll give you guys your test back in a little bit. I wanted to talk about the factoring because we didn't really go over much factoring yesterday, and I didn't have notes printed out just because this is kind of one of those things I decided that, like Wednesday night, I was like, we should probably retake this test together, and so I didn't have a chance to type up notes. But, so I got these together for us today. So factoring by a GCF, the first couple, we practiced this a little bit yesterday. So if you guys want to try these first couple, and we'll talk about them. So factor by a GCF, to those 8 and 9. And then number 10 is asking you to do by grouping. So I think we reviewed this a little bit yesterday. So if you guys want to take a minute to try those two. So we're on the back side of the sheet, sorry. So GCF and then also grouping. And don't get too far ahead of us so that we can. And these ones were tough on the test. I feel like either you got them completely right or completely wrong. There wasn't like a middle ground, like you either knew what you were talking about or not. I'm going to do attendance here. And you should be doing the top 3 on the back side. 8, 9, and 10 if you can. We'll talk about them here in a minute. Can you stop?
Yeah, we could totally go.
All right. So, factoring by a GCF, what can we take out of these first two? 4 and then an x to the second, right? So 4 is common among 12 and 8. So it's the number that can divide into both. So 8 doesn't go into 12, so then we kind of work our way down. 4 goes into both 8 and 12. And then an x to the second is common. I have to show that though. I can't just like take it away and like throw it away. I have to show that I took it out. So it's kind of like proof that it's there. So I'm dividing each of these by 4x to the second. If you like to show that, that's fine. You don't have to. It's kind of just a visual thing for me. So 12 over 3, or 12 over 4 is 3. The x squareds will cancel. I'll be left with just y. Minus 2 and then x, right? Because it's 3 minus 2. So that's factoring by a GCF. We pull out what we have in common, and we leave it on the outside, and then we write the leftovers on the inside. Yep.
Are we going to be having a break?
Yeah, we'll try to do a break. Probably just a quick one, though. Just make sure we get everything in we need to. Maybe we'll just go like right out here and do like would you rather or something. All right, how about out of these 3 terms, what's common? What's common among all 3 terms? 3, right? 3 is common among all 3 terms, and then also the variable, a y. So that 3y is common among all 3. So I'm dividing it out of all 3. This is really similar to the one that was on our test. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. X, and then y to the third over y to the first is going to be y squared.
Who is violently listening to music?
That's
No, that's the movie, The Odyssey.
Oh, I thought we were watching that.
Yeah, we were gonna watch it yesterday, but we didn't have enough time, so we're doing it today.
I don't want to shut the doors though because I like the airflow we need.
Yeah.
So 9 divided by 3 is
Hear
3.
background noise.
Right.
It's great.
And then there's a z and then just a y. I'm not done yet. Don't forget to write this as the placeholder. We have to write plus 1. Because in these factoring problems, if it's 3 terms, it should still be 3 terms here. Okay? Who's out there?
Oh no, I was just.
I thought you were doing that to someone in the hallway.
No,
Alright. Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
So I totally wanted to do that in the yearbook with Mr. Donahue, like us each hold half a heart, but then I was like afraid that it would be like flipped in the yearbook or something and we'd both be pointing our heart like the wrong direction. So I was worried that we would not coordinate it
Oh,
correctly.
that would have been great.
Well,
Yeah.
unless you guys are like kind of, you guys are standing like 6 feet apart, they take a picture.
Well, no, so like our yearbook pictures, you know, are next to each other because of our last name. So we are right next to each other. So I thought it'd be cute, but I was.
All you have to do is look in the yearbook and find out whose is where.
He should be first because Mr. comes before Mrs. I guess.
Why?
I don't know.
Because we live in
Screw
America.
Discuss it.
And if we go by his first name, Michael is before Nicole.
Nah, she's
There
very
you
well.
See, there's more logical
There,
reason.
that's what I'll go with. I don't know. Okay,
Otherwise, that's
so
dumb.
grouping you guys. Love our little female right fight here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So out of those first 2 terms, we can take out what? Yep.
Excellent.
Just the x to the second. That's going to come out of these 2 terms. So when I take that out, I'm left with a 2x. And then this cancel, I'll be left with a minus 9. Then out of the 4x and the 18, I can take out a 2, positive 2. And I'll be left with 2x minus 9. Now I have the same thing twice. That's how I know I'm doing things correctly here. So I have 2x minus 9, and then x squared plus 2 is my leftovers then if I take those out. And that's the way we have to write it to get full credit, to show that we factored by grouping. Okay? Okay, so there's another couple factoring ones here. And we just started touching in on these yesterday. So these are kind of, these, for the directions, I'm going to give you guys just the words factor. So the type that were up here, GCF, grouping, just like on the first test, I told you guys when to use those. These are just going to say factor, and that's going to tell you guys now I have to start thinking about my chart. So this is where you should be picturing your chart as you're going through this. So In terms of the chart, if it's helpful to kind of, I'm a total visual person, so when I do the chart, the different types, there was 2 terms, 3 terms, 3 terms, and 4. The 2 different types of 3 terms were either just x squared or ax squared. So this is kind of just a brief version of the chart. If it's just x squared, I know it has to be x times x. If it's the ax squared, that's when I have to do that x thing. So kind of trying to visualize that and picture what's going on there. So this is q, but since I just have a q squared, I can just use the simple kind here. So this is going to be q and q. So getting used to knowing what type it is just by looking at it quickly. So you're not spending forever trying to, decide which type it is. So it's 3 terms, so I know it's going to be one of these 2. And once I get to this point, then I'm like, oh, that's all I have left over. So this is the kind I want to multiply to -40, but add to 3. And I'll warn you guys, I promise that the test, if there's like one non-factoring one that's not able to be factored, that's probably going to be the max. So if you get a whole bunch that are not factorable, something is going wrong. They're almost all of them are going to be factorable. So this -40, -1 and 40, I'm going to start making a list. -2 and 20. 3 doesn't go into it. 4 and 10. 5 and 8, there it is. So to get that +3, it's a -5, +8. Okay. Now, one of the things I'm going to mention to you guys, anytime there's a number in front of the first term, I would always suggest looking for a GCF. Now, this one doesn't have one, but anytime there's a number in the front, I would suggest looking for that GCF. Now, as much as it seems like there should be like a 9 or a 3 that goes into this, there isn't. 3 doesn't go into 49, 9 doesn't go into 49, so there's not a GCF. When it's 2 terms, that's going to be difference of squares, probably, if there's no GCF. So difference of squares, remember, is where it's the same thing, but the opposite signs. So kind of trying to give you guys a little bit of like suggestions on what to do on some of these. So this is one you maybe want to try the square root button if you're not good with figuring out this perfect squares. Wait a minute.
3. Oh yeah, I thought you
So-
were saying 3 and 7 together was a square. I'm like, that is not.
he's giving both.
No, just kidding, that is definitely a square.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard that completely correct.
So 9, y to the second, square root of 9 is just 3. So we're going to do 3y and 3y. Square root of 49, if that's not one that you know off the top of your head, then you can just do square root in your calculator. If you don't know how to do that yet, please, let me know. Square root of 49 is just going to be 7 and 7. And then we just have the plus and minus. Whoa. I'm going to come for a walk second hour. I'm going to help pick garlic mustard because Miss Weeks' dog is sick. So
Like mustard?
I'm like subbing for so garlic mustard is like an invasive species of a plant. I was going to say the animal. Plant.
It's like a weed.
Yeah. So they.
I've eaten one of them, I know what you're talking about.
You eaten it?
It's a weed.
Yeah!
You find it like in.
It smells good.
Are you sure?
Yes. We have found that. They aren't.
We went and looked
I
at
was
it
in first grade.
We went and looked yesterday at it.
Yeah. So that's we're going.
It
Like,
smells
she,
good.
I was
It
covering
tastes
and then John did take over, but so I can get some stuff done. But I figured I'd let you know. All right, guys. We'll finish with these
And I wore
last.
appropriate clothing today
Yeah.
for it.
You didn't
More
wear.
appropriate than yesterday.
You didn't wear a giant sweatshirt. Okay.
Yeah, black.
So guys, on these On these, we either have, again, 2 terms or 3 terms, but if you notice, with the 3 terms, so again, talking about 2, 3, 3, all of these aren't 4. 4 is just automatically grouping. But if there's a number in front of x squared, that's typically where we do the x thing. However, don't forget to check for a GCF. Anytime there's a number in the front, check for that GCF. Now on 13, is there a common factor between 6, 17, and 3? No. So 17 is a prime number, so that means nothing goes into it. So if I can't factor it out, that's when I have to do this x thing. And we definitely should practice that, because I know that was definitely a rockier part of the test. So we're going to do that x. So if you forgot how to do this, definitely follow along here with us. First and last term get multiplied together. So 6x squared minus 3 is a negative 18x squared. And then on the bottom, I put that bx. And that's a positive 17.
That's what I did combination with. I did good on those ones, but I don't know when my brain shut off.
So I want to multiply to negative 18, add to 17. Yep.
Wait.
You get it?
Negative 18, awesome.
Just flip them though. Because we want it to be a positive 17. So we want it to be a positive 18 and a negative 1 to get that positive 17. So 18x minus 1x. That's going to give us a positive 17 when we add them, but a negative 18 when we multiply. And that one's always that tough one, is finding that one that has a 1 in it. For whatever reason, it's always like the one that everyone forgets about. Okay, so we split that middle term up. And now we can do grouping, which we just did up above, and that was the 4-term thing.
Do you like this one? I don't know if you remember this.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't know until like I'm listening to a song, and, oh, I like this song, and then I'm like really bad at knowing who sings what. Like I think they're all the same to me.
Yeah, Chris Cornell was like,
Unless I'm not listening on the radio and it like is like showing me like who's singing what, I pretty much am just guessing. Like
well, Chris Cornell is a god. So. You can shush.
You can shut it.
Like I know who like Justin Timberlake is.
Oh my god.
Ed Sheeran.
Good job, Miss Simon.
Thanks. I never claimed I was cool. Like I'm just like.
Musical genius over here.
But yeah, music's. I mean, I like listening to music, but it's never been like where I'm like a total, like music junkie. I just don't know. I probably know actors and movies a little bit better.
Music nerd.
Yeah. So we're taking out the 6x and the negative 1. So again, we know we're doing this right because we have the same thing twice. And this will always work out if it's factorable. If it doesn't work out, something probably went wrong somewhere. And so that's our final answer, is the x plus 3, 6x minus 1. Now there was one like number 14 on the test, and you probably thought it was super cruel.
Yeah.
But
Which one?
14. There's one like this. It's not exactly the same, but I wasn't being super cruel. Does anyone see why this could be easier? There is a GCF. If you look at it, you're like, my gosh, she's asking us to multiply 4 by 228. Like, what kind of like crazy psychopath is she?
Okay, well that's one.
Definitely.
There's a common factor here. So don't forget, when there's a number in the front, check for that common factor. And 4 actually goes into these 3. Is that 72? So I'm not a psychopath, I swear.
I mean,
Wait.
I don't think most
there's
better is because now it just has the x squared. So now I don't even have to do that x thing anymore. I can just go x times x, and like I said, there's one like this on the test. Where some of you guys, I think it was like 1,400 or something, right? Was that the, yeah, Ian I think did that one. Yeah, and like, he got it, but like, it just, I think he got it. And like, but it just was like, I was like, oh my gosh, he must think I'm like the cruelest teacher ever that I would make
You're
you
so
multiply.
cruel.
Yeah.
The world's gonna end.
So, negative 72, add to get negative 1. Now 72 is a lot of factors. Lots of numbers go into it. Is that 24 things there?
I think I was playing like
4
9
does as well.
games.
1 and then 18, I think. 6 even does. Holy cow, there's lots of factors in this one.
That's your fault.
Yeah. I know. But when I get to it, so negative 8 and 9 gives me a positive 1, so negative 9 and 8 are our winners here. So if you're looking at it and you're like, oh my gosh, these numbers are huge, try to look for a GCF. Let's finish these last two, and then we're not going to go out for very long. I'm telling you that already because we do have stuff we have to get done. We can do a would you rather outside for a little bit. Zippy can even come and participate and see what he says. Okay.
Or just go to the forest.
What's it?
Or just go to the forest.
Go to the forest. I think it's a slightly longer walk than I was planning on for today. All right, so this one only has 2 terms. So 2 terms makes us switch gears. Typically 2 terms is probably difference of squares. However, don't forget to look for a GCF first because there's that number in the front. What can I take out of 8 and 32? I think there's even a bigger one. 8 goes in the 32, and then also a K. So 8K I can pull out there. So I'm going to take an 8K out here, and then an 8K out here. I'm left with H squared, and then minus 4. Now the directions on this part say factor completely. It says factor completely. That means we might not be done. So factor completely maybe is a clue to you that these problems might be a little bit tougher. Does anyone see what we can still do? Yeah, that's a difference of squares. There's an H squared minus 4. It's 2 terms still, but those are both perfect squares. So we can go a step further with this one. And again, there was one like this on your test. Definitely was one of the tougher ones. I would say it was a very low percentage of people got this. So H squared is going to be H and H. 4 is going to be 2 and 2. And then we just do plus and minus. And then our last one here, for now, does this have any GCF?
No.
No GCF. So that tells us it's 3 terms, so now we have to do the X thing. So, multiply first and last. And then our 18x. Negative 2 and 20. So Justine got us through here. Multiplied in negative 40, add to give us 18, positive 18. So negative 2, positive 20. That's how we split it up. Now, if you said I did 20 minus 2, that will also work. And so now it's 4 terms, so now we do grouping. Take a 2x out of those first two, I'm left with 4x minus 1. Out of the next two, I can take out a 5. Alright, that should be a parenthesis there.
Yeah, it did not look like a prince.
No, okay, straight line. So then 4x minus 1, and then 2x plus 5. And then that's our factored version. So let me get you guys